Our top story is 6:30. New data showing COVID boosters are working to prevent hospitalizations and death. And yet, as more come out, fewer people are taking advantage of them. As KRON 4's Dan Kerman tells us, that's concerning to some Bay Area doctors.
The Centers for Disease Control has released new data showing getting boosted for COVID-19 provides significant protection against hospitalization and death, especially compared to those who are unvaccinated.
I think the case to get boosted, particularly if you haven't had a booster in more than 4 or 5 months, I think is ironclad. I just don't see any reasonable evidence-based argument against it.
And yet the more boosters that come, the fewer Americans that get them. So far, only 4.4 million Americans, which amounts to less than 2% of those eligible, have received the updated BA.5 specific booster.
It doesn't surprise me because we've seen lower uptake of every booster. Each one has, we've seen a little bit drop off with each new booster.
UCSF Department of Medicine Chair Dr. Bob Wachter says those waiting to get it should not wait too long.
Clearly, if you've had COVID or gotten your last booster in the last 3 months, I think it's perfectly fine for you to wait. If you've gotten COVID or you had your last booster more than 6 months ago, particularly if you're at higher risk, I don't think you should wait.
Wachter says the risk of long COVID is reason enough to avoid getting COVID-19, but so is the fact that getting COVID increases your risk for a variety of other illnesses.
A new study just came out looking at the risk of clot a year from now, higher. Heart attack, stroke, diabetes, and cognitive decline, all higher. To me, it's a pretty powerful argument to try to avoid getting COVID if you can.
Wachter says there's nothing wrong with enjoying the lull we're having, but just don't expect it to last indefinitely. The UK had been enjoying a lull as well, but now hospitalizations there are up 17% just in the last week.
If everybody is, quote, over it, lets their guard down, is spending more time inside, I think it is likely that we'll see an uptick in cases. Whether we see a major surge, hospitalizations, a lot of that is unpredictable. Some of it depends on whether people get boosted. And I think with that, we're going to have to see.
Dan Kerman, KRON 4 News.